Welcome to what? Series 13 and number 3. We're looking at Acts chapter 21 and verses 27 to 40. You know, if you talk about God, there will be reactions. And these days, we're a little bit like the book of Acts. People get upset when you talk about Jesus. We're going to go through this passage and we'll see where it takes us. Verse 27 goes on and says, "When the seventh day were almost completed, the Jews from Asia, seeing him in the temple, stirred up the whole crowd and laid hands on him, crying out, 'Men of Israel, help! This is the man who is teaching everyone everywhere against people and the law and this place. Moreover, if he even brought Greeks into the temple and defiled this holy place.' For they had previously seen Trophimus, that's a big name, the Ephesian, with him in the city. And they supposed that Paul had taken the temple." See, sometimes even the people who you hang out with don't accept what you're going to say, even if the people are religious. But to be fair, the whole Jesus thing at this point of time in the story was only a new thing. Things that take people out of their comfort zone create tension, and it can run wild sometimes. Listen to this. "Then all the city was stirred up and the people ran together. They seized Paul and dragged him out of the temple, and at once the gates were shut." Okay, here we go. That's a bit like what they did to Jesus, really, isn't it? He was controversial, so they thought, let's get rid of him. We know how that turned out, don't we? But sometimes help comes in funny ways. Listen to verse 31. "And as they were seeking to kill him, word came to the tribune of the cohort that all Jerusalem was in confusion. He at once took soldiers and centurions and ran down to them. And when they saw the tribune and the soldiers, they stopped beating Paul. Then the tribune came up and arrested him and ordered him to be bound with 2 chains. He inquired who he was and what he had done." Okay, here it looks like Paul is being punished by being arrested, but it actually saves his life. And besides, some of the crowd didn't even know what was going on. So listen to this. Some in the crowd were shouting one thing, some another. And as he could not learn the facts because of the uproar, he ordered him to be taken back to the barracks. And when he came to the steps, he was actually carried by the soldiers because of the violence of the crowd. For the mob of people followed, crying out, "Away with him!" Okay. He gets police protection. And the mob of people and the crowd, they had some kind of bloodlust, didn't they? And they didn't even know why. They were confused. One said this, one said something else. So Paul is saved by the Roman soldiers. But look what happens. This is really interesting. Verse 37 says, "As Paul was about to be brought into the barracks, he said to the tribune, 'May I say something to you?' And he said, 'Do you know Greek? Are you not the Egyptian then that stirred up the revolt that led 4,000 men of the assassins out into the wilderness?' Paul replied, 'I'm a Jew from Tarsus in Cilicia. I'm a citizen of no obscure country. I beg you, permit me to speak to the people.'" See, what's going on here? There's wrong information about him. And he gets it sorted, and Paul takes advantage. He wants to talk to the crowd who wanted to kill him. There's more about that if we read on in verse 40. "And when he had given him permission, Paul, standing on the steps, motioned with his hand to the people. And when there was a great hush, he addressed them in Hebrew, saying," Now, that's where we leave it for today. Next week, we're going to hear about what he actually said. But Paul has here taken advantage of a situation, and he's going to tell people about Jesus in the toughest of situations. How cool is that? What do we get from that? Sometimes we got to talk about Jesus in tough situations. Think about that for the week. Bless you.